feel like I've got crap all over my face. Says we're going live and it says we're here.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't actually know that till my existence? Existence is validated. It's going to be a long one.
This is going to be interesting today.
I'm not fully awake. Like, on a normal stream day, at this time of the day, I'm returning from dropping a kid off from school.
What the hell?
I told you all.
And you saw me turn it down.
I don't know what today's going to bring y'all. I almost called this a hurricane party just because I figured why even bother. Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lord.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help Kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships and create chaos wherever we go.
I'd say I have a gaggle of giggling baby girls, but it's only the one.
You only need the one. I have enough laughter to make up for several people. It's fine.
Oh, my goodness.
This is our weekly live stream while we record our audio podcast. We don't normally do these things during a hurricane, but here we are. If you do not like idle chit-chat and you're here as the stream is starting, give us about 9 minutes. We're going to officially get started at 9:30. If you arrive after the stream, but before I put timestamps in, fast forward by about 9 to 10 minutes. Hi. This is gonna be an interesting episode.
Buckle up, folks.
I apologize now for whatever is about to happen. I'm gonna say hi to people.
Yeah, you say hi to people. I will be right back.
Hi, Weiss. Am I saying it right? Weissman? So I'm reading it, but I want to say it right, so correct me, please. Hi, Janie. Hi, Mally. Hi, Mr. Spock. Hi, Name Twin JB. Hi, Meg. Hi, Susan. Hi, Blown Deuce. Hi, Marina. Hi, Missy. Hi, Kim. Hi, Candace. Here you go. I think I got everybody. So far, we did not expect anybody to be here. This, from our perspective, early in the morning, and I know if you're further along through the U.S., even earlier. But also, for our overseas folk, you're probably like, thank you for not doing this at midnight or whatever. So, I think you're welcome. Was it? I saw a question. Hold on, I saw it. Marina asked how we were doing with the storm.
We are doing fine at this point. Right now, we're getting just a lot of light rain. From one of the very, very outer bands. Wind is just a minimal breeze.
Yeah, it's
pretty much.
Not bad at all right now.
So here's what I'm going to say. I don't know what the storm is going to really bring us. The thing has wobbled more than a weeble over the last few days.
And yet it still hasn't fallen down. Damn it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, this is why I get so annoyed when people try to start tracking out and planning like down to the minute 3 or 4 days out from a hurricane. I'm like, baby, you don't know what it's going to do till it does it. You have to guess. You have to make an educated guess. You have to do risk assessment. You have to do that. But I'm not panicking when the cone of uncertainty, which is the name of it, is so fucking huge that there's no way to know. Yeah. Because we've been planning since yesterday. The track looked like it was coming up through Tampa. And then if it had stayed on that track, it basically would have gone right over our heads, the eye of the storm. And now I really hope the parts of Southwest Florida, where it looks like it's coming in prepped and didn't go, oh, we don't have to worry.
Fort Myers and Naples.
Right, because that looks like where it's going. And then, we're going to get storm, but it looks like the eye of the storm is going to go over Orlando.
Right.
Which I didn't realize, like, it was south to us. In my head, I think it's, like, to the right. Or is it the left? Oh, don't ask me.
Depends on whether you're facing north or you're facing south.
It's that way is how I think of it. I don't think of it as down there. And I know we have friends in Orlando, and please be careful. But we're prepped.
Let's see. From where we are sitting, Orlando would be that way.
See, I was right. It's that way. Don't look. If you ever have to give me directions, you don't tell me east, west, north, south. I will look at you like deer in headlights. You tell me to go 2 rights, look for a tree that looks like a thing, swing, turn. I hate to have you tell me left or right, but I'll write that down and then I'll do my hands and I'll know. No, don't tell me go east on. And don't give me a street name. Because most streets don't even have their sign. Like, say, right, 2 streets, take a right, go 3 more streets, take a left. I can follow that.
So, yeah, I have done everything we can do to prepare for this. Last weekend, as part of our yard work, trimmed some low-hanging branches in the backyard and got rid of them. Everything in the yard that, could be picked up by any wind has been put away and packed away. We've got water. We've, made sure we have batteries and yada, yada, yada. We've done everything we can do for, to prepare for the worst. Biggest thing we're concerned about here, because it is kind of a rural area, losing power.
Because that happens to us in big storms, even
in just the standard summer storms. So we do what we can.
I know. I'm gonna seem very blasé, and on some level, I kind of am. My most formative memories are of hurricanes. I'm not afraid of them. Like, I've got plenty of anxieties in this world.
Yeah,
hurricanes ain't one of them. Like, I have plenty of memories of hurricanes that I can kind of go back to and go, I remember what that felt like. So we're prepped as well as we can be, and that's all you can do.
So, the concern about the power, that's why we're kind of here a little early today.
Sure. Yeah. We could lose internet and not lose power, too. That's another concern.
That's true.
Fun times.
I am grateful we are where we are in Florida now, and we're not on the coast anymore.
Yeah. I don't even kind of know how to handle hurricane season not being on the coast, because I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to still care. Look, I lived in the Panhandle between the Panhandle and Mississippi Gulf Coast during the time when there were like a dozen hurricanes in like 5 minutes. Like, I sat through Ivan when the eye went over the top of my mom's house, and I held my oldest as a newborn and watched Katrina on the news because I was 2 hours away from my mom who went through it. So I'm just like, meh, meh.
Yeah.
I take them seriously. I really do.
Oh yeah.
I just don't.
And I've been
out.
through my share of storms here in Florida since I've lived here, and I think the most memorable one for me was the year when we had the trio, Charlie, Francis, and Jean.
Oh yeah.
And Jean was the one that kind of stuck with me because the eye of the storm, 1 a.m.
Yeah, they usually, it's something about eyes. They're usually like middle of the night arrivals.
Passed over. And I went outside, and that was the weirdest thing because it was dead.
Everything's quiet.
After the wind and the rain, everything, it was just dead quiet. There was no wind, no rain. You heard no animals, no birds, no animals, no bugs, nothing. It was just dead silence. And then probably about half hour, or not even half hour,
Could
maybe
sound like
15,
a train coming.
It was just like a switch flipped, and the wind was just back in the rain. And
so here's the thing: you get to have these experiences as an adult with all of the coping skills. Hopefully, you have as an adult. I was 8 years old, and my dad took me by the hand and went, "Let's go look." And so, you know what's funny? Many things traumatized me as a child. That somehow didn't. I as a little kid, remember how eerie that was and remember how weird that was. And I even remember, because I was a little kid, we go outside and that eye came over. I don't remember what storm that was. I don't know. But that was like one of the few times I've ever experienced an eye going over in the middle of the day. And so it was sunshiny. And I went, oh my gosh, look. And he went, no, this storm is not over. This is the halftime show.
Yeah.
It's coming back. And that was and he, is that where I learned it? Maybe because I learned it as a small child, I've got it wrong. It's the back half of that storm you've really got to be worried about once the eye passes over.
Yeah.
It's a whole culture, okay? Hurricanes. I don't know about tornadoes. I don't know about earthquakes. I don't know about snow. And I don't want to know, okay? Because you know what makes my little planner heart happy? My little anxious self happy? You get 3 to 5 business days of notice for a storm. You can decide what you're able to do early. And I like that. I appreciate that. So, I cannot stop thinking about Puerto Rico and what Fiona did to it, and it's still and Cuba, its whole power grid is down because of Ian.
Yep.
So while I can laugh and joke and be very well aware of what hurricanes can do, so it looks like with the track we are not on the northeast side, and that's really the only thing I personally care about for us personally,
right?
Because that's considered the worst quadrant of the storm, and we're not on it as of right now, unless Ian wobbles again. And I'm gonna have to, I don't know, have a talk with that young man. Okay, so we are at 9:30 and we've done nothing, so it's chaos here today, and it just is. If you came back thinking, oh, surely they'll be done now, no, you've got a few more minutes to go forward, because there's some stuff. We're not wearing anything special for shirts to link down. We're not. I barely put on a face. I tried to outline my eyes so you could find out where they were. That's just kind of as far as I went.
I'm wearing one of my old Florida sportsman shirts back in the day when I used to fish all the time.
On another day, those would be called his pajamas, y'all. I did shower. I combed my hair. The color has been refreshed. And when we're done here, assuming the weather is similar to what it is right now, you're going to go to work and I'm going to go to work because we're trying to work before the power and or internet goes down. Yeah. So technically I've got a YouTube only announcement.
Okay.
It's kind of weird because I don't usually have YouTube only announcements. There's the obligatory, hey, if you like this, I don't know why you would. This that you've seen for the past 15 minutes is what you're getting. We love a thumbs up. If you like it and have to want to come back for more, I got questions for you. But please consider subscribing. We are kind of starting to get close to 7,500 subscribers, so that's kind of cool. The next arbitrary goal will be 10K, and if we ever hit 10K, I will be like, what the actual fuck? This is amazing. If you subscribe,
hit that notification bell so you get updates of new content.
Whatever. Okay, so all that. Yeah. So the thing to tell y'all, we turned on a function here in YouTube last week when we were supposed to be on a break. That wasn't a break. I worked more last week than I have in a while. You can actually join our YouTube channel now. We are offering some exclusive content. It's $4.99 a month. And starting in October, because we knew we couldn't get it pulled together in September, we just wanted to turn it on. But starting in October, we're going to do one kind of fun video a month. So we're not going to put our educational, helpful stuff behind a paywall. We're going to put our silliness and make people pay to get that. So it's okay if nobody buys it. So we're going to do one kind of fun video a month. It could be reacting to kink memes, tier ranking stuff, taking BDSM quizzes, just whatever. And then we're going to do one, I'm calling it a watch party because sometimes we might be able to live stream, but sometimes it might be like we have to do a Zoom and then share our screen. But we're going to watch with our members some BDSM content. It might be 50 Shades movie. It might be an episode of a show on Netflix. It'll change from month to month. But we're going to do that with our members. And then, ta-da, yay, all that good stuff. And I don't think whether it's a live stream or a watch party, that stuff will like remain up because copyright or remain available for anybody. But so that'll be you have to be there for it kind of deal. So $4.99 a month. The join button is on our main page, youtube.com/lovingbdsm. It's supposed to be like down below us if that's how you're watching us, and there is a down below us. We also posted in the community tab with a direct link. So if you're interested, cool, great. Because most of our videos are not exactly highly monetized, this does support the work we do outside of what happens in the membership. And I have badges and currently a few custom emojis that are basically our disembodied heads, courtesy of our Discord emojis. It's not all of our Discord emojis. And I have other things I'd like to make emojis, but I got a limit. And I don't get to add any more emojis till we get members. So now if you're like, but I don't want to do a membership, that's okay. But I want to I want YouTube to do something for you. Okay. You don't have to join. You can do, what's it called here in the live chat?
Super chat.
A super chat. That's a one-time deal. You can, if a video of ours has ever been helpful, there's a thank you thing. I think I turned that on, that you can do on that. And those are one-time things. And we appreciate any and all support. But also, if you ain't got money, we get it. If you're ever like, but how can I support you if I don't have any money? Spread
the word.
Share our video that you like. Share our podcast. Tell your kink friends that we exist and encourage them to come listen and or watch. That is helpful too. So I always feel awkward doing that. I'm sure there's other things I'm supposed to say when we're at this point, and I have forgotten them. So I'm going to say, go ahead and click the magic button, and we'll bring in the podcasting folks.
Where's the mouse? Okay, and away we go.
Before we get started, will you be turning on the fan? I know that it's dark and grim and rainy, but I'm sweating.
It is warm in here, so yes, I will be turning the fan. So when you hear that hum, that's the fan in the background, keeping us relatively coolish.
And is this week chaotic as hell? Yes. Yes, it is. I don't even know what to do with my coffee. I keep moving it, but not drinking it. I'm doing it wrong. Okay, so before we get into the episode, and see, podcast listeners, for y'all, it's been a couple minutes. For the poor YouTube folks, it's been
a hot minute.
Sorry, y'all. Before we get into the episode, we would like to thank Beducated for sponsoring this week's show. Yay! We have talked about Beducated many times in the past. It is like a very specific kind of vanilla platform you've heard about, where you can go learn about all kinds of things and pay like one amount per month kind of deal. Except this one's about sex and relationships and kink and all the good stuff. So if you check out Beducated, you can get a free trial. If you use our link and our coupon code LOVING, you get 40% off at sort of the yearly pass sort of situation. It's $9.99 a month, and you get that discount forever. It's not like for 1 year. It's not like a one and done. It's for as long as you have your membership, you get that discount. So they always have some really good courses. I should spend more time in there than I do.
I know. I was just thinking I need to dip back in there, because I enjoyed some of the things that I watched in there too.
Some of it's like the obvious sort of stuff you might think about in for sex. Like in this case, they've got some courses specifically about oral sex. I always say this word wrong. Cunnilingus? I don't like that word, but I don't know another word for it. But you know, when you're like eating out the cooch, right? That's a skill. And as somebody who has had that done by different people over the years, not everybody knows what they're doing down there, okay? And if you're ever like, am I somebody who doesn't know what they're doing down there? This course might help you. And then, of course, there's one for blowjobs. And that is also a skill. And also, there's some tricks to it. Like, how many of us, show of hands that I can't see, have tried to give a blowjob, and then the gag reflex is way too strong, and you're like, the tip is in, and you're like, right? Like, there are tricks for that.
Can you see that again?
That'll be the next Discord emoji. There are tricks for that, where you get your hands incorporated, and you the whole thing don't have to go down your throat. It's okay. So these are, if you're like, but I don't know those tricks, you know what? These kinds of classes can help you. In the cunnilingus, I don't like that word. They give you 10 basic and advanced techniques. What I really like, and this is one of the things I like about Beducated, this class focuses on communication and how to kind of do that. And also exercises using not a penis. Sorry, that was cunnilingus, not a vulva. So a spoon, an orange, or a peach. I mean, I kind of just want to watch somebody take the class and do the homework with a spoon, an orange, or a peach. You know, on the blowjob side,
Fascinating.
you get that kind of thing as well, and then you get the exercises with a dildo, a cucumber, or a banana. If I'm going to put a food in my mouth to practice blowjobs, it will not be a banana. Because unless it's a peeled banana, because the little ends of the banana, they're hard and crunchy and crusty and bitter. Why would I put that in my mouth?
Cucumber.
I know, but then you gotta make sure you get the waxy bit off.
True.
So maybe I would just go with a dildo. Anyway, if you're like, I think I would like to improve my skills sexually. Maybe it's not oral sex that you need to improve. Maybe it's some other part of your sex life. Beducated's got you covered. You can. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. It's chaos. Look, level up your love life, your sex life, your kink life. Join Beducated, starting at $9.99 a month. Use our code LOVING. Discounts locked in for life. Don't have to worry about it. I love that. I love using discount codes and then not worrying like the next month or the next year. We bought something that has nothing to do with this, and I'm very sad because we got a discount. And next year, if we keep it, it doubles in price. It's like, damn it. That will not happen in Beducated. So Beducated's got what you need to learn about not the vanilla stuff, right? So you're trying to improve your sex life, your relationship, your kink knowledge, whatever. Go check out Beducated. Take a look. See if it's for you. And then use our code LOVING. Save 40% off a yearly pass. Okay. Thank you, Beducated, for sponsoring. And also, I'm very sorry that we're like this. And as a reminder, the link is in the places. For YouTube, it's in the description box. For podcast listeners, it's in the show notes. So,
hey,
there you go.
They must be okay with it. They've been
Y'all
around long enough, so they keep coming back. So, you know, they know what they're getting.
Y'all keep coming back. And we're grateful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We're
oh,
grateful.
Yes.
But we do have questions. Okay.
Right.
So I've been screenshotting my little heart out because over on that handle, I fucking hate, on Instagram, Loving DS and the number one at Loving DS1. I popped a thing up and said, hi, we don't even know if we're having an episode this week, but if we do, please help us because we don't have the energy to come up with a topic or deal with our own topics. I have a list, just don't have the energy for them. So I asked Kinksters over there, what do you wish other people, including other Kinksters, understood about your kinks? Because the thing is we all have misconceptions about stuff, typically because we don't understand something or we only understand or know about a stereotype or a cliche and we somehow have decided that's what a thing is. Everybody does it at some point. And so all of us are constantly sort of having to push back against these misconceptions. And we have done an episode back in, I think, 2021 about the misconceptions we think of. So some of these might be a repeat, but I did want to hear what other people had to say. So we're going to get into these. I'm going to read them. I'm not going to say names, protect anonymity, and we're going to just say what we think about them. Because sometimes it might be, yeah, I used to have that misconception too. I made that too big. Okay. Sorry. So this first one, I agree with wholeheartily. Caregiver little isn't pedophilia. ABDL, adult baby, I always forget the DL stands for, isn't either. Being in little space, having the dominant partner be a caregiver and the submissive partner is a little on whatever that means to them, whether there's age regression or there isn't. It's not about kids. It's not about kids. It's not about kids. It's about a lot of different things. It's about inner child stuff. It's about innocence. It's about fun. It's about, and it's different for everybody. It's about total dependence on another person. It's about trust. It's about intimacy. I hesitate to cheapen it by calling it just role play, but on certain levels to certain people, that's kind of what it is.
I mean, to some extent, for some people, I can see how it may be role play, but I think it goes a little bit beyond role
of course.
play for most people.
For many people, it does. For some people, it doesn't. Regardless, It's not about kids. It's not about kids. It has nothing to do with kids.
Thank you, Mr. Spock. ABDL,
Adult Baby Diaper Lover. Thank
Yes.
you. I always forget what the DL stands for. And Evie has a video out where she reacts to, is it a documentary or just a show, where somebody produced a thing where they were highlighting Adult Baby Diaper Lover like lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go by a thumbnail, but she did have a concerned face, and it said, "We have to talk about this." And I was like, "Uh-oh,
yeah.
what did the
Yeah.
media do to make a part of the kink world look stupid? Like,
Yeah.
what happened there?"
Yeah.
I haven't watched the video yet, but I did see that pop through on my subscription stuff on YouTube. So, it's not for everybody. That is 100% true. Whether we're talking Adult Baby Diaper Lover, I'm going to keep saying it like that so I can, like, make it stay in my brain what it means. That is definitely not for everybody, but even Caregiver Little isn't for everybody. The problem, it's not that anybody thinks that you have to be into it because I'm into it, they're into it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about that initial gut reaction people have of, oh, gross, or ew. Like,
Yeah.
Some thoughts are inside thoughts. You're allowed to be like, oh, hell no, not me. But it's not great to judge the people around you simply because you're not into something or that you don't understand the nuances of something.
I mean, the whole thing with Baby Girl Little's Caregiver thing, it has been changing.
A bit.
I remember when they first started coming into the lifestyle. I mean, it was seriously frowned upon in many ways, and it has changed to a certain degree. Probably not as quickly as some would like it to see.
Oh yeah, never does.
I mean, number of dungeons are open to it. A lot of them have little play areas.
Or party nights specifically for littles.
Party nights specifically for littles and their caregivers. So, it is happening, but probably not as fast as I say. So, the acceptance of it is growing, but, the way some people look down on it is just, it's
And I find that ironic
upsetting.
when it comes from within the kink community. 'Cause
Yes.
It's like, wait. You're looking down on this specific dynamic or kink that you don't like or you don't understand, much like you would be very concerned about your vanilla life looking down on you. So why are we doing it to each other?
Right.
We don't need to. I was about to say we don't need to eat our own, and then I just remember we were talking about oral sex classes on Beducated. Maybe we do need to eat our own, but, only consensually and with pleasure. That will always, I understand it from a human nature kind of thing, but it will still always baffle me to some extent why some people in the kink community do to others in the kink community what is absolutely probably been done or will be done to them by outside. Like, come on, let's be better. Let's do better. Okay, next one. I love this. Impact is impact, even if it's light with a smaller paddle or toy, and not all impact needs to be intense to be legit. That's so fucking true. That is so true.
That's true. You see a lot of pictures on FET with masochists that have just these massive bruises and cane marks and everything. And kudos to them. They love that. They want that. Just like some people want, be hit with spikes and, things like that. That's wonderful. But somebody who just likes some light spankings that don't leave marks, you're no less a kinkster than anybody else.
Right, and it's still impact play. Is somebody hitting you with something? That's impact play. I don't care what the sensation is. What sensation you feel has, pardon the pun, no impact on me. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's not a competition. We're not scoring against one another. There's no winner.
No.
So it
just like
doesn't matter.
A sensual flogging is just as valid as a flogging that leaves marks.
Right, because whichever one you're interested in at a given moment or just in general, as long as you're getting out of it what you'd like and it's a satisfying situation with the partner in the moment or whatever, it doesn't matter if it's
Right.
if somebody went harder or lighter on you than somebody else. Because again, it makes zero difference to my life what the sensations are that you feel versus what I feel. What I care about most is that the impact play I receive feels good to me. That's all that matters. So yeah, and I think it goes back to, there's lots of things that go into it, but one of the things I think it goes back to is somehow people being worried, even if they wouldn't articulate it this way, that somebody else doing less than them somehow invalidates either the entire kink or their experience with it. And it really doesn't matter what somebody else is doing. What matters, like in general, in a broader sense, community wise, and for the safety of all of us, is, there's consent and there's communication and there's risk assessment. And of course, and you care about other human beings or your kink friends and you want them to be safe. Of course. But actually, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let people like what they like, and don't worry about what you think it might somehow mean about what you like, because it doesn't mean anything. Next one. This is a good one. Kinks don't all come from a place of trauma or hurt. Some of them just appeared like wild Pokemons.
I like that.
I like that too. I know there is. So on one hand, for some people, yes, their kinks and what they're into are part of what happened to them as kids, teenagers, for those formative years, and something got wired in their head, and there you go. But that's not, I mean, I'd love to know if there's a study that's actually attempted to try to measure this, about how prevalent that even is, because to me, that's not that much different than the people, non-kinky, whose formative years taught them sexual shame, and now they're in their, and this is not, I'm not slighting Christians at all, it's just, this is where I see this happen the most from my Western perspective. They're in a good Christian marriage, but they're terrified of their own genitals. Like, yes, shit that happens to you as a kid can absolutely impact your sex life. It ain't just the kinksters that it happens to, though. It's anybody who had a childhood, okay? But also, clearly it doesn't happen to everybody. So why do we think that all kinksters must be, oh, I hate this word, air quote, damaged in some way? Of course not. I do like the wild Pokemon. Yeah. Sort of.
Yeah, I do.
Vision.
The analogy, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it goes back to, I think it was when we were doing the episode on conscious kink. Let me air quote that, because I think the more I've thought about it since we did that episode, the more I'm like, that's just a marketing made up fucking term for somebody to feel good that they are into kink. Like, okay, whatever. Anyway, not everything you do has to be fully justified to yourself or anyone else. Sometimes the answer is, I just like it. And that gets to be a valid reason. Like, that just feels good. I don't need to psychoanalyze it. Quite frankly, as somebody who was spanked as a kid and hated every second of it, if we're going to go with the theory that my kinks were determined by the shit I went through, wouldn't I be like, hell no, I won't be on the receiving end of a spanking, but I'll hit any motherfucker who comes near me? Like, make it make sense. So, yes, sometimes for some people, sure. You used your kink to work through a thing. But not always. Not always. If you ever come up to me and go, but who hurt you? I'll be like, his name's JB and it was consensual and I enjoyed every fucking second of it. Okay. This one we got over and over. I will not read every time we got it. This one, people, they're right, but man, people have thoughts. So this is the first one that came in. I wish people understood that kink is not always a sex thing. Sensual, yes. Erotic, yes. Sexual, nah. And here's the thing. When I first figured out I was kinky, in my mind, because for me at the time it was always sexual, I struggled to separate that out because I did that typical thing of, well, this is how I experience it, so surely this is how it is experienced. That to me is just sort of a lack of knowledge, and you haven't had your horizons expanded enough. But there should come a point, if you're kind of just sort of paying attention to just like how the world works, of, oh yeah, not everybody does everything the same, so therefore this will be different for some people. Now though, I have a lot more experience where the kinks we do together, the things we do together, again, yes, they're erotic, yes, they're sensual, but because they no longer sort of, air quote this, always end in sex, my brain understands that on a visceral level. Like, absolutely, they can be tied together, but they don't have to.
They don't have to be. And that goes back to the first thing we were talking about, where a lot of people feel that, baby girl, caregiver, littles, and that is pedophilia. Most times, more times than not, that is not even a sexual thing.
No, they're not in a sexual headspace.
They are not in a sexual headspace when they are in that place. So I and kind of brushed about this in past conversations. How a lot of people come across this lifestyle, whether through erotica, where the sexuality is very intertwined. Places like Tumblr, BDSM, Eller,
the BDSM version of Tumblr.
Yeah,
don't try to say it.
All the images
Sure.
are very sexualized. So I think people feel that's that's what it must be, but it's
right,
not.
Because there are certain elements that have sort of normalized that idea.
Right.
Which, again, I get it. When you're like a little baby kinkster and you don't know shit except you like this one thing, you're kind of supposed to have some not enlightened thoughts about things because you just don't know yet. But once you start like exploring outside your own personal bubble, even a little bit, talk to another kinkster, listen to a podcast,
right,
watch a video, read a book. Like, your horizons need to expand. And I think that if most people can think about whether it's their kink life, their sex life, their whatever, just logically, they will see it. But those things aren't always logical. And it doesn't help that there's so much shame around sex and a serious lack of education around sex and pleasure that, it's not easy for people to just go try to find somebody to talk about with it, or to somehow think that, yes, even your kink life or your sex life are not that much different from every other part of life, meaning we are all unique individuals, and some people will be similar, but we all have our own motivations and reasons why we do things and blah, 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 blah. And yeah. So that's yet another reason why I think it's so important. You can do your kink at home. You can never leave your house, and bring your kink with you kind of deal. That's fine. But find a kink community, online, in person, because you're going to learn so much more about what's possible just by the exposure to other people who are doing it their own way. And if you find a community and they love to say the right way, the true way, then bounce out of that fucking community. This one was interesting mostly because I agree. Person says that they, kinks, make me who I am, and they make me feel alive, and that this is who I am. And I'm like, yeah, that's not always true for everybody. There's another one we'll come up upon who's sort of like, it's a part of who I am, but it's not all. It's not like my defining,
Yeah, I mean, when I discovered there was a kink lifestyle, it made me feel more complete, knowing that there were others out there, who enjoyed this and do this as well. Is it all of who I am? Absolutely not. I mean, we all have many different sides to us, and while our kink sides may be a big part of that, I could not imagine not being in some kind of power exchange or something like that to that point that it is that big of a part of me. But to say that it is all of who I am, you know, is a big misconception.
No, and I agree with that. I think for me, when I figured out what submission was and I related it back to not just what I wanted sexually and in relationships, which was a pretty clear, like, aha moment, but when I could relate it back to how I behaved even in non-sex and relationship situations, and I could kind of go, oh, that's why you did that. That's why you do these things. That's why you want what you want. It was that moment of completion. It was this light bulb moment. I felt like I made sense.
Yeah.
And so for me, and this is going to be different for everybody, you know, as it all is, and we keep saying, I can see how, especially before I had an outlet to safely be my submissive self with the right person and or people, theoretically, that part of me was so, like, intertwined with everything I did that it was like spilling over into other parts of life. And so for me, it was I make sense now. This is absolutely a huge part of my identity. It's a core part of who I am. And so while, yes, I am made up of many more things besides just, you know, the desire to serve and submit, it's a defining one for me. And I think part of that is because I had come to it at a time when I kind of thought I knew myself, but I was struggling with, why am I like this? Why do I want these things? Why do I think I need these things? And then I was given the clear answer that made sense. And I think that's a little bit of even in my 30s, a core memory forming. And I think that depending on how you came to figure out your kink identity and what you need and what you want and how you moved within that and how it made you feel, because I would imagine that there are plenty of people whose maybe first experience with it brought shame, that they might not have the same kind of view on it that I do, right? Other people who maybe knew they were kinky from a really young age and it was accepted and it wasn't this thing they had to go figure out or work through, it just, this is who they are, they will have a different view than I might have. And then, of course, there's then the infinite number of ways in between those 3 points, and then other ways I can't even fathom, right? But yeah, it for me, I agree with this wholeheartedly. This is who I am. I cannot do another relationship where it's not at least understood, because even like you have theoretically said the most horrific words ever. If the DS had to end tomorrow, right? So here's the thing. You and I would still be in a relationship. It would be a harder relationship because this is how we have formed this relationship. But I also know I am the person who takes care of the people she cares about. That's who I am. And I've siloed that into surface submission. Also, in the bedroom, if you don't take the lead, we're not doing shit. So that would never end just because we took, if it will not happen. We took the labels of Dom and Sub off of it. This is who I am. Right. And once I understood that, then I knew how to navigate certain parts of relationships and my world a little bit better. So that's not true for everybody, as I think we'll see shortly after I swipe a few more times. But yes, this resonates completely.
Yeah.
Okay. Scrolling. Okay, here we go. Let's see. There are a couple of here. I'm going to combine these two because they're kind of the same sentiment, and I feel this so hard. So it's, because I'm a submissive, it doesn't mean I'm weak. I'm a boss bitch all day. I mean, same. And then they also said, and that just because I'm a submissive, I'm not your submissive, I'm spoken for. That, man, some of the bullshit cliche stereotypes people have in their head about what it means to be submissive. I bitch about this all the time. How many times does some rando on the internet watch 30 seconds of a video, decide they don't like me, which is fine, and then go, that's not submissive. Why don't you let him talk? Oh, he'll talk when he wants to talk. Also, I'm getting better about not interrupting.
You are doing better on that, but, you know.
I mean, there's still room for improvement. We all know this.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I don't come across to you as submissive because I'm not submitting to you. It's funny because it feels a little incongruent to say, on one hand, being submissive for me is absolutely an inherent part of my identity, and also in the next breath to go, but you might not see it. But partly because we don't have to be our entire identity every moment of every day to every person we meet. Sometimes you just get to be a random person that, you know, you never actually like engage with or interact with. But my most submissive self it's not a private thing, but it's a between you and me thing.
Right.
Nobody else is. You're gonna clock it if you know to look for
I don't.
it.
I don't
or
need
know
to.
us,
I don't
but-
need to prove my dominance to anyone.
No.
And you know, all that matters is what goes on between you and I and whatever other partner.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know, and the same. Yeah, the same thing with.
Mm-hmm. I feel this has nothing to do with this, but what you said made me think of something. Or the people who think they do somehow have to prove it. I mean, so this is where I'm a bitch, and I know I'm a bitch. Sometimes I feel like I can't, because you can't ever know. Am I watching somebody just be who they are, and this is who they are, and the whole world gets to see their power exchange on display?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I seeing somebody trying to prove something to the rest of the world? And you can never really know. You have to know somebody very intimately, and even then you don't know what's in their head, so you don't really know. But every once in a while, when I'm feeling really salty, I'm like, look, I'm happy for you, but I don't need the show or the display. You can be in that power exchange without me, but without witnesses, right? Like, it's fine for public, like some level of public stuff. That's a whole other debate. We've had those conversations. It's fine if that's just who you are, and maybe I don't vibe with it. It's fine. It's fine. But if you're ever like in this headspace of, but how will anybody know? Who the fuck cares? The only person who needs to know is you and the partner you're the dominant or the submissive or the whatever for that. That's the only one who needs to know.
Yep.
If other people know, great, sure, that's a lovely bonus, but it doesn't matter. And sometimes you don't want people to know because maybe you don't want the questions or you don't want the judgment or whatever. So, scrolling. Da, da, da. So this one is a repeat of it's not always sexual, but this person used the word that I think is very important. It's not, kinks aren't often sexual, but they are always intimate. Would you say they are always intimate?
I think they can be.
I think anytime, even if it's a casual scene, you trust another human being enough to either let you do something to them or for them to do something to you that could cause some harm.
Right.
That creates, even temporarily, an intimacy.
I mean, I look at it this way. I put your collar on every morning and take it off every night. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is a intimate thing.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Okay. So, I think that most acts can be considered that.
Mm-hmm. And I think there could easily be times where one person in the situation is like, this is not intimate to me. I'm just going through motions. I'm doing a thing. And the other person can be like, I feel a closeness with this person. Because again, even in casual pickup play, you have to have some element of trust that this other human being...
You have to have some element of trust, and you have to have some element of understanding
and I think that
each other.
That automatically, on some level, creates a level of intimacy. Is it necessarily the same level of intimacy as long-term partners who are pushing boundaries or who are doing a thing that is meaningful to them, that without the meaning that we give it, it's whatever. Absolutely. But yes, I think I agree that there's a level of intimacy in all parts of kink, even without the sexuality. As Silent Wing points out, everyone defines intimacy in their own way, though. So yes, which is why I can say that one person in a situation might not think of that as intimate, and the other person absolutely would. And an outside observer would also go, oh, that seems a little intimate, a lot intimate, because what happens is a lot of us conflate intimacy with sexuality. Or
True.
not sexuality, sexual sensuousness. We pair it with, eroticism and a turn on, and
Right.
and it definitely can be.
It can be. That's part of it.
Definitely can
But
be.
it's a lot broader than that
Exactly.
as well.
It's a lot broader than that. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Okay, this one is the opposite I was saying earlier of the other one. Kinks don't necessarily define all aspects of who I am or negate the enjoyment of vanilla sex. I'm definitely never gonna tell somebody who's like, this is how I view it, you're wrong. I will say, what's funny is, I agree. It doesn't have to define all the aspects of who you are, and I really don't think it should all the aspects of who you are. I think it can explain aspects of who you are, but yeah, my mom self is buddies with my submissive self, but not really. Like, it's not the same. What I'm glad this person said this, because I know this logically, but I always forget, because again, it's one of those, not me, the negate the enjoyment of vanilla sex. I'm always surprised when a kinky person says they like vanilla sex, and that is wrong of me. I know. Okay. I know. I know that it, again, logically, analytically, of course it's possible to still want vanilla sex with whomever, regardless of your kinky preferences. But that is one of those things that, for me, you come at me with vanilla sex, in about 30 seconds, I'm like, can we do something else? I'm not. I posted for the Kink Your Shop on social media over the course of the past several days, and it's a meme, and it's a picture of a kitten like sitting at a window, and the text over it says something like, when my boyfriend starts like making love to me, or like something about vanilla sex, and then the little speech thing for this little innocent looking kitten is, "Daddy, I crave violence," and I'm like, yeah. 10 minutes later, "Daddy, I crave violence," and I'm like, 10 seconds later, like, I can't wait 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I'm done. I have made a to-do list in my head. I'm wondering when this will be over. I'm making plans for later. Yeah. So, obviously, my brain hole understands that kinksters absolutely can still enjoy vanilla sex and do. But I forget. We do not have vanilla sex, to me.
Mm-mm.
Is it something that you miss? Is it something that you wish we did?
I don't miss it.
Okay. I'm glad we're on the same page about that. Woo! Woo!
I'll be right back.
Okay. We've had some repeats of a couple of things. Thank y'all for that. This one, we're back to the caregiver a little, and this is just another nuance that it's about safety and a sense of innocent wonder, and not the other stuff that we talked about earlier. And I think that for some people, they might go, no, that might not be true for me, but that does feel like, nothing in kink is universal, but that does feel like one of those broader statements that more people than not will resonate with. Safety, sense of innocent wonder. The innocence I definitely sort of relate to. I wonder if connections have been made by others, or if connections can be made to a lot of the conversations I see online about healing your inner child or getting in touch with your inner child, and the little experience, if this is just kinksters have been doing it longer than the internet's been talking about it already. Not to, heal traumas, but if that's a part of it, if there's some connection, I would be curious about that. Scrolling. This one's a little bit on that level, but this one hits really close to home, so I'm going to read it. This person wishes that people understood that calling my partner daddy doesn't mean I had a bad relationship with my actual father. So I had a complicated relationship with my actual father, but he died well before you and I ever met. And I have often wondered if I would be able to call you daddy if he were still alive, because he was daddy. I called him daddy. It makes it very difficult to talk to other people who knew my father, like to talk to my mom about my dad, because in her mind, because up until age 22 when he died, I was 22 when he died, I was calling him daddy, and now I'm like, you know, my dad. You remember when my dad used to do that? And she'll look at me like, that's not his name. You know? I'm like, it needs to be, because daddy has a different meaning now. Yeah, calling your partner daddy does not automatically inherently mean you have daddy issues. Like, come on. Do some people have daddy issues? Of course they do. Does that sometimes color how they interact with partners? Of course it does. But that's true regardless. Daddy's a vibe. It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Okay.
And you know what? It goes back to that safety. The previous comment was talking about with what caregiver role is. The vibe for me is a sense of innate, like even without a direct interaction, an innate feeling of comfort, safety, because of how I view you. I'm going to say it this way, and this might definitely won't be true for everybody, but a quiet sense of strength. Like you're kind of a presence, you know, and there's different kinds of presences. There's a looming presence. There's a stern presence. Like, so all the presences.
Am I wrapped? I mean, do you?
Oh, if I had my way, you'd be unwrapped, but whatever. But you, and calmness, again, are all father figures calm, safe, strong, comforting? Of course not. And sometimes that's not what somebody wants. I think that is what I want. I mean, I want all the other things. I want all the other things too. But yeah, and I'll say I had to struggle for a while with, oh my God, are my daddy issues, air quote that abhorrent phrase, the reason you're my daddy? And no, because I still have, for all that I understand how flawed my father was and how problematic things were and the shit I've gone through. Maybe it's because he died when I was still so young. I still have respect and love and care for him. I wish I could have seen him get older and we could have seen what our relationship turned into. But the feelings I have for you are so wholly apart and separate from anything I associate with my actual father that yes, there were issues there. No, our daddy baby girl dynamic is not a way to fix that in my head. You know, like... But I had to spend some time in my head kind of going through that, you know? I just did. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. This one is an important reminder because I know it's another misunderstood kink as well. Pup play does not involve dogs. It does not involve dogs. I am not going to speak on pup play, any form of pet play, any kind of like animal personas. Like, nope, outside of my wheel of expertise. Thank you. But yeah, no. And I have met people, and then of course watched plenty of people on the internet who maybe are into pup play or kittens or whatever. And there's a vibe about many of the people I've seen and met as well, and and I'm like, oh yeah, I could definitely see you as a puppy. There's something about you. There's an energy. Yeah, but for anybody who has questions about that, no, we are not the ones. Do you have any experience with it?
No.
We are not the ones. I like this one. Just because I'm a good girl doesn't mean I'm a pushover. Hell, I try to be a good girl for JB 24/7, and I don't succeed. I mean, if we're like a 50-50 here, maybe a 75-25, hopefully that's what I'm striving for.
She gets an E for effort. Most of the time.
Some days I did. Look, when I was in elementary school, an E was excellent. So I'm just saying. And he can even tell you, I'm not a pushover with him either.
No.
I want to be that like soft, pliant person who's like, yes, daddy. I'm not. I mean, sometimes there's like 10% of the time where I just kind of go, okay, daddy. And I don't have a question or a thought that I need to share immediately.
And it's all blown to shit.
Thank God I do good work in other ways. Oh, let's see. Okay, we're into the I don't quite understand what is being said exactly here, because the way it's worded, maybe I need to say it out loud so my brain will register. Without power exchange, I was told how much I'm messing up our daughter because I'm a weak woman. So it makes me wonder if by being submissive, they mean that they're being told that being submissive to their partner, they're messing up their child by being
setting a bad example.
Maybe. I think maybe that's what. Yeah. Oh, that's bullshit. Obviously, we've talked a few times in the past about how I have kind of thought about what am I showing to the boys who. I mean, they're already growing up in a world that kind of caters to them, you know. The 17-year-old is very aware at his job where the people who are poorly treated, tend to not be the white, seemingly straight guys. Like, it tends to be the marginalized, the air quote other, right? And he's like, they're letting me get away with shit. They're not letting anybody get away with it. He's like, is it because? I'm like, it might be. Yeah, there's a good chance. So, you know, that's a reality we live in, that there is a privilege to being white and male. And it's weird because they see me serve. They see me take care of. They don't know what it means. Well, they might by now. They're not stupid. We all live in the same house together. This voice carries. But they don't understand the inner workings of that. They don't understand the power exchange part. Like, they're not there.
Yeah.
And so I have to make very conscious decisions and choices and have conversations with them so that they understand that what they see here is a choice and how they need to be approaching people and treating people, you know, is slightly different than what they see. And that feels like that shouldn't work, but you know, kids are smarter than most people give them credit for.
True.
And just have a age appropriate, honest conversation with them, they'll get it. But also they see the example of me stepping up and being, air quote, this strong, you know, being in charge, being the whatever. They also have those formative memories of their entire life before they met you, who I was and how that worked. And I can see there being, from the people within the family, the concern can be real because it's like, what example am I setting? What example is being set? From the outside in, that's that nosy bullshit concern. That's that you're just up in somebody else's business because your life clearly is just not interesting enough, and maybe go focus on yourself for a hot minute, right? But you know, I think it's okay to have that conversation with yourself or your partner of, okay, what example are we setting? Are we setting an example that we don't mean to? What kinds of conversations do we need to be having with our children but to be submissive in a power exchange, first of all, it's not a weakness to be submissive. I fucking hate that stereotype. Fucking hate it. And depending on what a dynamic looks like, what your kids should see, if anything, is two people who care about one another and take care of each other. That's the lesson that I want them to get from a healthy relationship. Yes. That we fuss and argue and fight and disagree, and also we come together and we take care of each other and we share in the load. And that's another thing. So we are very, you know, heteronormative looking. I get that. And here I am as the submissive. So Some people would go, well, you must have to do everything because that's what submissives do. Well, fuck that shit. That's not how things work. And so we all chip in, and they all get to see that JB does dishes and cooks dinner and carries his load. So those examples are being set. Okay, we got to the end of the list. And that took, that went okay. That took okay. So, those are some of the things people wish that other people understood about their kinks. The amount of people who are like, it's not about sex. That's clearly a hot button one, and I get it more now that it's not completely about sex for us either. This is not forgiving it or excusing it, but I understand where the confusion comes from for too many people who are like, my only experience with kink is in the bedroom and it's sexual, and so therefore, but yeah. All right. So I got nothing.
You got nothing
left for that.
Okay.
A big thanks to Beducated for sponsoring this week's episode. Link is below or in the show notes. Code is loving. Go check them out if you want to be more educated about specific sex acts or parts of your relationship or how to deal with a thing.
There you go.
I saw one come through an email called body bondage. I was like, I gotta go check that out.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna do a bonus section.
So, are we good?
I don't know. I have no idea. I feel so chaotic.
Let's just go with it and say we are.
Okay.
All right.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we think we'll see you next week. Okay, can I talk to the crickets now?
Before I let you talk to the crickets, I just have something I want to say real quick.
Of course.
What's the date today?
September 28th.
So you know what we have to do when we're done with this?
Yeah, before the power goes out. If
right.
the power's going to go out at all. We don't actually know.
We don't know, but
what is Ian doing? We don't know.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I was thinking about that too. I meant to tell you.
Okay.
And everybody's like, what the fuck? We do a behind the scenes podcast episode for our patrons. And we always make sure to get it. We try to always make sure it's out by the end of the month. And every month one of us is going, by the way, and sometimes one of us goes, we need to record that. The other one goes, yeah, I know. And then 2 days passing, the other one goes, we haven't recorded that yet. Oh yeah, we need to do that. It's the whole thing. Yeah. That's the one we kind of do the state of loving BDSM and the kink
affairs and
state of the union kind of deal.
Yeah. So, okay, I just wanted to put that out there. And
I'm aware, but do I think it and go, I need to say something to JB and then forget after I've had the thought?
In all honesty, usually I do that, but with everything I've been doing lately, it has not even been on my mind.
No, it hit me like sometime yesterday, and then it was poof.
It hit me about halfway through recording this. Oh, yeah.
So if you needed a reason to join our Patreon, they're very short episodes. They're like 30 minutes, 35 minutes, I think is the most we've done.
30, 35 is
sometimes
the most.
less.
Yeah.
We talk about what we've worked on, what we're going to work on, what our plans are. It's, stuff like that. So yeah, we got to do that.
Okay. So go ahead. You can talk to the crickets now.
Okay. I want to point out something that both Mr. Spock and Silent Wing mentioned in the live chat when I said white and male. There's a privilege to that. White, between the two of them, they got my language right. White passing and straight male passing or appearing. And the appearances. I talk about the kids like they're cis guys because for the most part, they kind of sort of go, yeah, we think, but they're like figuring themselves out too in their on their own path. So I'm sort of like, one day they might say that they're not, and I'll go, okay. Yes. So apologies if my language was not clear enough. Thanks to y'all for that. This is chaos upon chaos upon chaos.
Yeah.
The weather outside It's not frightful or delightful.
Yeah,
it's
no.
sort of middling. It's dark and gloomy. I'm looking at a like 2-inch wide strip of window.
Yeah.
I think it's drizzling.
Yeah, it's been drizzling. I can see through one of the windows over here, just about an inch and a half, 2-inch crack myself.
We live in a hole, okay?
That looks straight out
don't
of the
want the light
orange
in.
tree. And none of the branches on the orange tree are moving, so we don't have any wind at this point. So.
Yeah, so for podcast listeners, all goes well. This comes out on Friday at its normal time.
Yeah.
No big deal. For anybody on YouTube who's like, what the hell's going on around here? We're trying to beat whatever strong winds are coming our way. The current track as of Wednesday morning, it doesn't look like we're going to get the brunt of anything. But around here, strong winds and heavy rains can knock out our power, can knock out our internet.
Right.
And so I've been, over the course of the week, trying to work ahead to stay ahead of the storm and get stuff done. But also do things that need to be done on a day-to-day. And also, like, manage expectations for all the different places we are. So I was, like, putting notices up on your shop sites and social media, like, hi, we're gonna be here, but if the power goes out, we will not be processing orders or responding to messages. And it's one of there's lots of annoying things about a hurricane. I don't want to diminish the actual real concerns of a hurricane. One of the annoying things when you're prepping, especially if then nothing happens, is you have to plan for like what could feasibly happen. Yeah. And so I've been sending out message after message going, I might not be working, we might not have power, we might not be, and then I wake up this morning and it's like, actually Ian's gonna go further south. It's like, okay.
And it's moving so slow.
Oh, who knows what the hell it'll be.
So at any rate.
So yeah, well, we were off last week. I do not feel like we were off last week. We used Wednesday to do even more work. We just weren't here recording. That's the only difference. You worked my ass off last week.
I did.
I'm officially not quite a full-time shop elf, but enough. This week, before we knew there was going to be a hurricane, I had to go, I have some stuff I have to finish up.
Right.
I cannot work in the shop with you this week. And you went, okay, that's fine. Because starting in next week, first week of October, I'll kind of be there with you a lot. And then I was like, oh, never mind. I'm trying to.
Yeah. I have officially passed some tasks.
Oh my God. And you know, it's fun to be able to do some of that. It's also nerve-wracking because you've figured out your method, you've gotten good at it, and I'm not good at it yet. And so I don't want to like fuck it up. But also because I'm still finishing up what will become old tasks, things I don't do anymore. I'm like, oh my God, there's so much to do.
So yes, how I feel.
You know, I was about to say that, but now I don't want to. I was about to say I empathize even more with how busy you must have been. But you couldn't just let me give it to you. Take it. Anyway, but yeah, we're about to go. October starts fourth quarter of the year, and if you know anything about retail, you know what the hell that means. And so it's about to be balls to the wall. And I'm very excited. From a business partner standpoint, and also very much a service submissive standpoint, I have loved watching how these teeny tiny things that I worry I'll fuck up, and two, I'm like, is that big of a deal? I have loved watching how much that's actually been a benefit for you. Like you're getting more done. You look a little less stressed. You were looking mighty tense there. And there are a lot of reasons for you to look mighty tense, but I don't feel like the wood shop, your happy place, should be a place of tension either. And so there's a part of me that's just sort of like, oh, look, I did that thing and now he's happy. Yay. So it's hitting me right in the service submissive feels.
There you go.
The cats are fine. The dog is fine.
Yeah.
She's actually, her mid-morning thing is to take a nap in her crate. And that's where she's been this whole recording. The kids are off school through Friday at least.
Yeah.
They part of it is some of the schools are used as shelters, and sometimes they're used as shelters even when it's not going to be a big deal for us, but because people from out of town might evacuate here.
Right.
And then, of course, even if the shelters aren't necessarily used, they then have to, like, clean it all up. So the kids get a 5-day break once you include the weekend. The oldest, he was supposed to work tonight, and I told him yesterday, I'm like, there's a hurricane coming to town. You're not going to work. I don't care what your employer says. If they get mad at you, blame it on me. I don't care. You're not driving in that. And now it's probably not going to be that big of a fucking deal, but I still don't care. He can take the day off. But he was supposed to have all this band stuff.
Yeah.
Some of which got canceled like ages ago, and some of which is now being canceled because of the storm. And he's like, I said, you've got 5 days to do not a fucking thing. He went, nothing. I don't have to do anything. I'm like, just sleep, baby. Sleep, eat, and play video games. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy this one moment of relative calm in your senior year of high school. Probably the last one you're going to get for a while. So, but yeah, we're good. I think there were things I was going to talk about, and then, Ian showed up, and that's the only thing I can even think about right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what we've been doing and why we're here and what's going to happen next anymore, because there's a hurricane coming to town.
There is. There is.
Is there anything you got?
Not really. I've just been working and doing my thing. Been doing a lot of reading lately.
Yeah.
I finished that book, Cackle, by the way.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay. Did we get that out of the YA section?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, no.
No.
Oh, something about it is not young adult. Okay.
No.
I like some young adult, but I know I'm not the target audience for young adults, so some of it is like not as satisfying to me as, it would be to somebody who's younger.
All I will say about the ending of the book, it turned rather dark quickly.
Oh, okay. So what's funny is you're going through the books we purchased. I went to the library twice over the course of like 3 or 4 days. So the first time I went to the library, I was like, there were some books that we had put on hold, and some of them came in, and so I went to pick them up. And then I perused the new book section and found some other books, and I was like, oh God, I love this. And here's what I realized. I love a bookstore, but there's pressure for a bookstore because I'm spending money on a book I might not like. And so the decision is just more fraught to me. In a library, it's like being in a fucking candy store with no budget. So I'm like, if it sounds good to me,
Until you hit the limit of books you're allowed to check
I haven't
out.
found that limit yet. So if a book just sounds kind of good, I can take it, and the pressure is completely off, other than to read them before you're going to start getting fined.
Yeah.
And that pressure is also real, but I don't feel that in the moment at the library. I'm filled with all this hope for all this time I'm going to have for reading. And so I got like 4 books on top of all the books we purchased that I said I was going to read. Bring them home. I'm, getting through them. Then a book that was requested for the 13-year-old came in, and I was like, oh, let's go get it before the storm. It's part of our storm prep list. They're going to close the library. Let's go get it. And I was like, I don't need any books. But do you want some books? Now, again, never mind. We have entire stacks of books that have been bought and paid for. And while we have power, he has his ebook, but we were thinking, if we don't have power.
What if the power goes
I
out,
did point out we do have tons of books, but I'm a book pusher at the library. I'm like, why don't you go look for some books? So who said, I don't need any books. I was just here 2 days ago. Said, I'll walk with you. Do. He goes to a section, and you found several books.
Yeah.
And I look up on the shelf that we're at, and I see Douglas Adam books. And I'm like, I know I'd seen
Hitchhiker's Guide.
Thank you. I had seen the movie several times. Love it. But I was like, have I read it? And maybe I have, but I can't remember. I'm like, it'll be a reread. And then there's another book. And then there's another book. And I went... And next thing you know, we're going to the front desk, and I've got another stack of books. And what we told ourselves is that this was hurricane prep. If the power goes out, or even just the internet goes out, we'll have lamps. We'll have natural daylight at some point, hopefully. We'll just read our way through.
Right. I ended up getting a bunch of books from an author that I've absolutely loved through the years, Piers Anthony. 3 books by him that I have not read. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that.
I know. I'm kind of hoping that at some point I can get where I feel like good about what I want done before the potential power goes out. And then I just go sit on the couch with our dog and a cup of something to drink and I just fucking read because I've got a bunch of books.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many books now. Yeah. I always feel good at the library. I think it's because the pressure is off. I'm not weighing, is this, money
If
being
it's not
spent?
a great book, you just return it and move on your way to the next.
Exactly. Exactly. I need to go to the library more. Maybe go to the bookstore less.
I have Libby.
I know. I will read ebooks, but yeah, my preference just tends to be a physical book.
I know.
So, yeah. Thanks for the well wishes we've received from folks worried about us, or we are thankfully in a decent part of the state where most effects of a storm tend to be minimized for us anyway. It looks like Ian has taken a hard right. Yeah, right is going further south, so some of those effects are even more minimized. To our friends, followers, listeners, watchers in those parts, please stay safe. I hope you were doing what we were doing and going, I'm going to prep so that maybe it's not an issue. And then, oops, but you're prepared, so maybe you'll be fine. We hope you will be. And yeah. Hopefully next week will be less chaotic. Hopefully next week there won't be a storm.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Better not be by next week.
I don't watch the Atlantic to try and game out, is a storm heading our way? I can't do that. It's like watching political news too much. It's just stress for no reason. It's stress over shit I can't control. So I pay attention when it gets close enough. So hopefully this will be it for a while, or it for the season. That would be great. But yeah, that's us, and we should probably stop talking now, huh?
Yeah.
Because we gotta go record another podcast.
Yep.
Whoops. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go.
All right.
We'll be fine. Just imagine us, whatever the news says to scare you, we're sitting on the couch reading a book. That's what we're doing.
Jim Cantori is not in our town, so that
I want to know how quickly he left Clearwater
and headed south.
South. Where he is now. Is he in Fort Myers? Is he in Naples? We need to check. Because y'all, the Jim Cantori thing is real. If he's in your town, run. Because shit's about to go down. Just saying. Anyway, we're going to go.
All right. Thanks for being here with us. And, always welcome.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.